Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, it's Sean Smith. And if you like ugly losses to a team that was behind you in the standings before the game, then I've got a game for you. That's right. The Predators squared off against the St. Louis Blues tonight, and they left with a case of the Blues because they lost 5-2. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't see a lot of fight out of the team except for a couple of outlying performances there by Philip Forsberg, who seemed determined to do everything he could to make something happen. UC Saros, of course, not getting a lot of support in front of the net. And Tanner Jeannot, long after the game was past, a chance, taking his frustrations out on a few guys on the boards. And quite frankly, it was an ugly loss. I don't really know what else to say other than that. I sat there, I watched the game, I paid attention to the game. I saw a lot of opportunities where the Predators had chances at an open net, but nobody was in front of the net. I noticed a chance where somebody got a shot on Binnington. There was a rebound over on the right side of the net. Binnington was clearly splayed out over on the other side of the net, and everybody was going off for a change. Almost like as soon as they saw that the puck was going to be stopped, they said, oh, time for a change. A couple of guys would have been in perfect position to pop that puck in, but they decided they needed to skate around the back of the net, looking toward the bench, and I get it. They're tired. That's fine. But make sure that play's dead. Make sure there's a whistle. Make sure that something happens that means you should get off the ice before you abandon whatever's going on in front of that net, because that would have been a prime opportunity. And you saw what happens. Even when Cole Smith throws a puck over in front of the net, if somebody's coming, like Colton Sissons was, that's an opportunity. That's a scoring chance. That one worked out for the team. But there were a lot of times when I saw pucks go in front of the net and there was no one there. And I think that's what's most frustrating is it's not that the Predators didn't have opportunities. It's that when they had those opportunities, there weren't very many times when someone was there to drive that puck home behind Binnington and put some points on the board. Now, what does this mean in the greater context of things? Let's get serious now. Okay. The Predators aren't in a playoff spot. At this stage in the game, they're probably looking at not making the playoffs. And unless there's some kind of late season push, a couple of teams start to flounder a little bit, that I could see them squeaking into the playoffs. But let's be realistic. They're probably not going to go very far in those playoffs. Last season, they barely made it into the playoffs, and they barely made it out of the playoffs alive. Backup goalie David Riddick got chased out of the net within the first 15 minutes of the game. Connor Ingram coming in his relief. Never really stood a chance after that. And that was the way the season ended, the way the playoffs ended. And it seems like, at this point, if the Predators are headed to a postseason appearance, which I'm not convinced they are, I don't think they are, it looks like they're going to be another first-round exit. And that's not what you really want. There's one thing here to say about keeping that playoff streak alive. And, hey, we've been to the playoffs this many times in a row, and that's a great bragging point. But when the on-ice product, especially against a team like the Blues, which is a team that was behind them in the standings, a team that you would assume, hey, they're on pretty even footing with that team, and they even had a couple of key injuries to some key players that kept them out of the game tonight, and then to get manhandled, and I use that word, I mean that word, manhandled, 5-2, not a good look. So, at this point, you have to start wondering, with the trade deadline coming up, it's not around the corner, but it's down the block. So the trade deadline's coming up. Are people going to start getting moved out? Is there going to be some kind of clear signal that this team is getting ready to enter into a committed rebuild? Are they going to start selling off pieces at the trade deadline? There are going to be some teams out there that all they need to push them over is a good veteran defenseman like Mattias Ekholm, who, look, I'm going to be honest, that's not who I want to lose. I don't want to lose Mattias Ekholm. I like Mattias Ekholm. I think he's a great player. I like the way he plays. I like his personality. I like the energy he brings to the team. But he's also going to do that same thing for another team, and he might have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup. And realistically, that's probably what would be best for the Predators at this point, and what would be best for Mattias Ekholm at this point, is that he's able to go play somewhere else, and in return for that cap hit, the Predators are able to get some good draft picks out of it, or maybe even some nice prospects. And that's what you're going to be looking for if you're looking for this team to start the rebuilding process. So keep an eye out for those things over the next few weeks. We've heard rumblings. We've heard that Mattias Ekholm is available, and I assure you he would be a great pickup for any team that's looking to make a playoff push. He has experience, he's a veteran presence, and he's pretty darn good at defending. So that being said, ugly loss. I don't think that this signals that the team's getting blown up tomorrow, but I do think that when you start to see the team lose games like this to what you would consider to be your peers, people that you are fighting for a playoff spot against, losing like this is not a good sign. Charlie, that's all I've got for tonight. Hate to be so negative, but just got to call it the way I see it. I'm going to send it back over to